Yo, what is up? In this video, I will be doing a big chop transformation with a high drop fade. My client is cutting off all his hair. To get this video started, I'm going to start by combing out my client's hair. In this situation, you can wet the hair with water if you are struggling picking out the hair. But my client do have like some really loose hairs, so the hairs was picking out really well for me. But if you having trouble, just put some water in the hair, damp it up a little bit, and then try to pick it out. So we're going to cut it down really low. So I decided to put on a 5 guard just to play it safe, because I don't know what's growing underneath his hair. It could be calyx. It could be anything. So I just picked up a higher guard just to mow right through the hair. And this should be your easiest step throughout the whole haircut, just running the guard through the hair. But we are going to be coming back and knocking him down with a 3 with the grain. And right after you knock the hair down, you want to go back through and comb the hair out to its natural growth pattern. The hair was just so used to just sticking straight up, so we had to train the hair to lay right back down. So then I put the 3 guard on my Babyliss FX, and we going with the grain now. And this is going to lay his hair down a little bit. I was really surprised how his hair actually laid down. And we just knocking down the hair now and going with the grain. I'm really not worried about the hair on the sides too much, because we are going to fade that out. So my main concern is really just the top of his head and the back. And right after we get finished with that, we're going to start the foundation of the fade. So since we are giving him a high drop fade, we want to start forming this in a U shape. And this is just setting up the foundation of my fade. And we just going to stick with the 3 guard. We're going to run it straight up. And right when we get near his parietal ridge area, we are going to scoop out, because I do not want to create another harsh guideline for myself. And my client does have a mold right there that's sitting right behind his ear, so I want to be very careful when cutting that area. Now we're just going to start our fading down process. This is my number 2 guard that I have, and we're going to run this right underneath the number 3 guard. And when I get finished with the number 2, I'm going to come right behind that with the 1.5 and go right underneath the number 2. This is also called stacking your guards, because you are stacking your guards right on top of each other. Then I'm going to set in my first initial ball guideline, and I'm going to set it in a U shape. Remember, we are giving him a high drop fade, so he's not going to have no C cup. And I'm going to start the guideline right at the bottom of the vertical bar, and I am going to ball him out completely. My client can take the foil shaver. When using the shaver, ask your client, can they take it on their skin? Some people have very sensitive skin and they cannot take the shaver. And you can see my client mold that I am working around. Since I am using a trimmer, is a lot more sharper, so I want to be very careful around that area. My client did tell me before I started this haircut that he had it, so I was very aware of it. And we're just going to set in the same guideline in the rainbow shape on the other side. Then we're going to come to the back of the head and connect everything all together. Then I'm going to come in with my Babyliss shaver, and I'm just going to use the single side. And right when I get to the top of the guideline, I want to scoop out, because I do not want to create a harsh guideline for myself. So just be very aware of that. Just make sure that you are scooping out. Now we're going to set in our first guideline with the clipper open. And I'm going up about a 1/2 inch because I need to give myself room to fade. This is going to be like a tighter fade. It's not going to be so much stretch how I usually like my fades. And the reason why, I have to give myself room to fade. So that's why I had to make my guidelines a lot tighter on this haircut. And when setting in this guideline, just make sure that it is consistent going around the whole head. If you putting in a sloppy guideline, then that's how your fade is going to come out. It's going to come out sloppy. Now to take this line out, I close the lever up all the way and I start to tap at the line. Once I see that line shift up, I will open up my lever 1 notch and I will start to tap at that line. Then I will open up my lever halfway and I should be at the very top of that guideline. If that line still do not come out for you, just go back and repeat the same exact steps. And when taking out this line, I am using my corners. And if the lines still do not come out for you, remember, whatever you set that line in with, you need to pick that tool right back up, use the corner of the blade, and start to tap at the line. Which you can see what I just did. I still see a little bit of the line, so I picked up my trimmer, what I set the line in with, and I'm using the corner, just hitting the line. Now we're going to set in our next guideline. Usually I start close, but I wanted to show you guys the difference from starting open and starting close. So I started open on this side, and I'm going over the guideline multiple times, and I'm keeping the same exact shape. And I am scooping out because I don't want to create a harsh guideline. Now I close the lever up all the way, and I'm going right back through that guideline just to soften it up. The one close is not going to take out this guideline. It's just going to soften it up. Then I come back with my half, and I am halfway in a lever, and I'm starting to use a feather motion, and I am using the hilt of the blade just to lighten up that guideline. Once I see it lighten up for me, I will close my lever up 1 notch, and I will go a little bit lower. Then I'm going to close my lever up all the way, and I should be at the very bottom of the guideline. I do not want to go any higher in this guideline now. If I need to go higher, I need to open up my lever a little bit. And make sure that you are using the corner of the blade. If you are using the full blade, you can risk bringing up the fade. Now I'm going to throw on my 1.5 guard, and I am close. And now we're just going to start to soften up this line. This 1.5 guard is not going to take this line out. All it's doing is softening up the line. I'm getting it ready to take it out with the 1 guard. But you can see my transition is starting to come together. Now I throw on the 1 guard and I start halfway. Again, I am using a feather motion, soft touches. And I'm just using the hilt of the blade. And you can see how my transition just came together. And little by little, I would just close up the lever. And that thing is looking blurry. It's simple. I follow the same exact system in all the haircuts that I do. Using the corners, just lighten up some of them dark spots that I see. Now we just gonna repeat the same exact steps on the other side. We're gonna start close, start to tap at the guideline. Once I see that guideline shift up, I'm gonna open up my lever 1 notch. Once I see that line shift up, I'm gonna open up my lever another notch, and I should be halfway in the lever, which means I need to be at the very top of the guideline. If that line does not come out, just go back and repeat the same exact steps. If the line still doesn't come out, just come back with the trimmer, use the corner of the blade, and just tap at the bottom of the guideline, and your line should be removed. And one thing that I see a lot of barbers do, they set in these bald guidelines with their 0 gap trimmers. If you actually set in these guidelines with a soft pair of trimmers, it will be a lot more easier when you are coming back trying to take out that line. A quick gem for you. Now on this side, instead of me starting open with the 1 guard, I start close. Me personally, I feel like it's pointless starting open because you're going to close the lever up anyways and come right back behind it with the 1 guard. So that's why I like starting close. Then I throw on the half guard and I start halfway, and this is where I just start to feather out that line. Once I see that line start to lighten up for me, I will close my lever up 1 notch, and I'm going to go a little bit lower. Once I start to see the line lighten up again, then I will close the lever up all the way, and I will go at the very bottom of that guideline. If I need to go up any more in the fade, I would just do some lever play, open the lever up, close the lever up, and just go wherever I need to go in the fade. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the transition that I made with the half guard, where you can see that line that just going down the side of his head. Bro, that was just annoying me, bro. It was just so aggravating. It was just, I thought it was like a line, but it's not. It's actually like, it's like a dent in his head that he has that's just causing like that white line that you see just going up into the fade. It was annoying me the whole time. Like, I tried to go in there and detail the fade, you know, no guard open, go back with the half guard, and it just wasn't coming out. And that's when I noticed, I was like, bro, this is definitely just like a dent, or something's just wrong with his head. So I just decided to stop detailing it and stop trying to just lighten it up, because I didn't want to ruin the fade anymore. Sometimes you got to know when to just stop, because when you are trying to fix something, you can actually mess up the haircut even more. So if it's something going on with one of your clients that's out of your control, just leave it alone, because you can damage the haircut trying to fix it, and you're not going to fix it. And you can see it, like it's just throwing off the fade. But I tried to do everything I could with it, but I just left it alone. And right here, you can see me, I just went to the half, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna leave that alone. So then we just gonna fade out the back of the head now, and we're just gonna do the same exact steps and follow the system. When cutting hair and developing your system is so important, because if you don't have a system when cutting, that's how you can easily just get lost in your fade. So that's why it's important to have a system. Always have something to go to when cutting. And these haircuts will become a lot more easier for you, and you will just be a lot more confident in yourself because you have something that works. That's why developing a system is just so important. And drop a comment if you guys are using my system, and let me know how it's going for you. And we just finishing up the back part of this fade. We are going to come back with some thinner shears just to lighten up some of that boat that you see. But I like the way this is coming together. Some make blurry. Now we're just going to fade out the beard. And it's literally the same exact thing, man. You start open, and you just gradually just start to fade down. And look at the fade. That's clean. Yeah, that's clean. And now we're going to just work on the hairline. You can see when I start combing the hairline down, you can see his calic popped out. So I'm just going to just run a tool just right on his tips. I'm not going to dig in his hair. I'm just hitting the tip of the hairline. And we're going to put some holding spray on it. And we're going to just brush it down. And I'm checking to see how much room I have to play with. And we're going to start right in the middle. And that's for our balance. Everything flows out the middle. And then we're going to pick his weakest side. And we're going to take our time. This is something that I never rush. Edging someone up. I always take my time. I do light taps. I'm always looking at my mirror. I would angle the client head. I will put it up. I'll put it down. Bro, I do whatever I have to do to make sure that this line is straight. And another gem to really make sure that your line is straight, you have to pop out them corners. Don't push your client back, but just make sure that you are popping them corners, because that's what really give it the illusion that the edge is straight. Now we're going to be working on the beard. I'm going to be using some Tune 45 shave gel that has vitamin E. And with the vitamin E, it helps repair damaged layers in the skin. And it also has the aloe vera in there, which helps prevent dryness to your skin. And I also love the shave gel because it smells really, really good. If you like this shave gel, you can pick it up at tune45.com, and you can use my discount code MOREFADES to get your 10% off at checkout. And I'm also using the Tune 45 straight razor as well. And when you are lining up these beards, just make sure that you are stretching the skin, and you have the razor angle at a 45-degree angle, and it should glide like butter. And we're going to be doing the same thing for the other side. Just make sure that you are stretching the skin and have the razor angled, and just create them nice, crispy, sharp lines. And my client have like a pimple right there, so I'm working around that. I don't want to run right over that, because you can have your client start bleeding. So just be very careful of bumps and stuff that's on your client's face. And another thing was cool about the Tune 45 shave gel, I can actually put some of the shave gel on my client's face to help him prevent that kind of stuff. Now I'm going to come back with my thinner shears and just doing some detail work on the fade now, and just clearing out some of that bulk that I see. I still want to keep some of it. I just want to soften it up so it can flow a little bit nicer. And this is how my client came in looking. He wanted that big chop. And this is how he came out looking. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see y'all on the next video.